My love for cat, well known.
Yeah, Justin loves the kitties. That's at least what I heard. Sorry for coughing in the mic. I know y'all like stuff like that. What's going on, everybody? What's up, everyone? Johnny B.
Hello.
Crazy from House of the Conqueror here. And yes, it's all good, Terrence. It's all good. We're going to be talking about Watchmen here, Season 1, Episode 5, Little Fear of Lightning. And this was mainly a Looking Glass-centric episode. We get some origin stories of why he's so weird. He was even weirder before all this crazy stuff happened. So we'll definitely discuss that in just a few minutes here. We have I don't know, it's a very special day. Okay, it's Dornish Wench's birthday. Here's something about 36 chambers and a few different fighting styles. Tiger, crane, ox. I know ox isn't even a fighting style, I just had to say that. But it's Dornish Wench's birthday, y'all. So everybody, you got to give it up for Dornish Wench right now. And I'm pulling out the chat here to see who's there. It's probably popped up on your face. First off, Dornish Wench, what's going on? How the hell are you doing? And then I'll let everybody just grovel to you and pay their respects in just a second.
So yeah, thanks everybody for joining me while I'm entering the 36 chambers. So it's my 36th birthday if anybody didn't get the reference. I'm a big Woo fan. And the colors are appropriate, are black and yellow for Watchmen. So yeah, I'm ready to get it on and popping. Thanks for joining us in the God Hour.
See, that's what's up. Show your respects. Just send your money to me, and I promise I'll give it to Dornish.
Or to Wu-Tang Financial.
That's what's up, but I don't think Wu-Tang needs no more money. No.
Diversify your bonds.
So we're going to start from my left. We're going to go from my left all the way over. We're going to start with Justin Thomas from Top Shelf Fandom. What's good, man? How are you doing tonight? And do you have a weird mask that you wear?
Nope. This is the one right here. It does the trick. What's going on, everybody? Just from Top Shelf Fandom. Look forward to talking about the episode. One of my favorites, actually. And just met you, Dornish Wench. Wow, that seems mean to say. I'm gonna have to get used to that. But happy birthday. So, and hello to everybody in the chat.
Yes. I don't think that was good enough groveling, but Terrence will pick up the slack because he's got to do.
I got a whole lot of groveling.
So grovel to mother, and pull down that camera just a little bit.
Gravel's not the key to success.
There we go. That's what's up. Gotcha. There we go.
Yeah. All right. So Dornish's son Tech West, and of course it's my very lovely mother's 36th birthday. She's entered, her last chamber of life, and she's ascending. She's on to great things.
Did you just say last chamber of life? I don't know.
Say, wait a minute, young man. I don't know if that's how we calculate
after
things.
That's fucked up.
She's going to ascend to a higher plane.
Yeah, we're all old, dude. You made us all fucking sad. Thank you.
She's going to be on the bigger, better things after this. She keeps it going. So thank you, Mom, for all the wonderful things you do for me. Welcome to 36. Have a lot of fun. Live it up. Love you.
Yeah. Okay, just real quick. I mean, you on here trying to sound all smooth and stuff. It's old people in the chat. I mean, there might be some cougars out there, but I'm just saying, you don't gotta play the smooth role with
pulling
us.
some LL Cool J shit, okay?
Don't remind us of your mortality, dude. No. We're trying to forget that we're gonna die by doing this. Not remember, but I forgive him. He saved that at the end. It was sweet.
Look, Fandom D Saint, can you please just reflect what Tech said off your forehead and kind of just turn it into a positive note? Is Dornish really going into her last chamber of life? I'm heartbroken right now. Like, I'm feeling for this. I didn't know that Dornish was entering the last chamber. I was
I only
hoping
just
that there would be a sequel, but we'll see what's up. Phantom.
This is just an interesting intro for going to be for all of us this damn live stream. But hey, y'all, Fandom D saying here already the stream is like less than 5 minutes, and Johnny's still commenting on my hairline. No words. I'm still getting my reformation, all these hairline jokes. But also, I'm happy that Tech West is here, so AK doesn't have to keep on referring to me as young man throughout the whole entire thing. So
You still gonna
I'm
be
good.
young
I'm
man,
good.
bro. That ain't going
No,
away.
no.
Young man to
It's
young man
now
too.
Tech
It's
West
easy to
now.
differentiate.
No.
Well, AK, do you know anything about that 36 chamber or the last chamber
Well,
of life?
I passed that already. So another another
You
month
define
or
the
so,
odds, AK,
and I'll
apparently.
be
No.
I'll be hitting the 39th chamber. I mean, Dornish, I hope you do it soon, because ain't too much more to look forward to, Mom.
Man,
That's all I can say.
I'm scared too. I was pretty positive. Now I'm like, oh no.
No, I mean, you look. I'm putting it on Tech, man. He said you're gonna ascend. I'm gonna believe that you are gonna ascend. Me, I'm just here being old.
You'll never be as young as you are now, and you'll never be as old as you are now.
Facts.
There you go. And it's beautiful, and it's all that, all that stuff. There you go.
So basically, saying I'm just still here being old.
No, we're all fucking beautiful. Get with it. Let's move on.
Yeah, let's just us gorgeous people have a conversation here really quick. Well, we get the culmination of Squid Apocalypse 11 to 1985, Hoboken, New Jersey. Yes, I just jumped right into this. Looking Glass's origin story. They're basically in Satan's asshole. What do they call it? Hold on. Hold on.
It's Hoboken.
The whore's den. Okay, they're in the whore's den preaching. It's the what's it? The final minutes left on the doomsday clock. This was in the heat of the Cold War, but little did they know, interdimensional squid attack was about to go down, and this shapes Looking Glass, aka Wade's life forever. So, since it's Dornish's birthday, we're gonna let her start off with this, because I know she got some good shit. No pressure. Dornish.
First of all, Hoboken's not that bad. I mean, it's not that bad.
It's
It's
not a
more of
whore's den.
It really isn't. I mean, it's towny. It's pretty collegey. It feels like a little college town right across the water. So yeah, but and my favorite thing about it was seeing the freaking Top Knot gang out there, all the mentioning of Pale Horse, and it was just really great to see all these comic nods. And I just knew this skinny, peaty looking lube man guy was freaking Looking Glass. I just knew it. I heard that accent. I was like, oh, that's Oklahoma all the way. And I really thoroughly enjoyed this introduction. And you get the fun house, and you see where his name comes from and all these associations to the person that he is today. I thoroughly enjoyed this episode. I have so much fangirl feelings for this episode, period.
Man, the beans. The bean scene just in itself was really good. A callback to the comments, Rorschach. I fear that Looking Glass is not going to survive this one. But, Tech, what did you think?
Man, what a crazy episode, and what an even crazier intro. I mean, just jumping straight into it, we see, he's kind of a religious fanatic, I would kind of say, because, he's out here, middle of Hoboken. People are just trying to have a good time, and he's trying to peddle Jesus or whatever it is he's peddling. And, he gets played. We can see where his distrust comes from. Again, like Mom said, we see the whole Looking Glass where he gets the name from and things like that. But it also helps us kind of see why he turns into the person he turns into. We see that he was right there, just across the water from this squid that's, bound to end the world as everybody sees it, in that moment of time. and he's just horrified at what he comes out to see. So we get to really see the effects of not only Wade then, but we see the effects of the squid. Wade is not the only person affected by the psychic blast, and there's a whole lot of mess going on. So it was a great way to open this episode.
Yeah, and we hear about even women that were pregnant, the babies are having psychic effects from this, dreams. Makes you wonder if, I just thought of this, if nostalgia comes from like some of the squid, like if they derive that medication from the squid, as far as how the psychic and telekinesis thing goes. It seems like the mirror house saved him, and this is what he really holds on to, becoming Looking Glass. And also you have this, what would you call, I can't remember, the Reflectatine. God, man, they need to think of some better names for this shit. But Redfordations and Reflectatine. While my dog's going insane, Justin Thomas pick up, man.
Well, I'll touch on what was just said. Let's think about Wade's situation. He was, as Tech said, like a religious fanatic. He's got a deep belief. But notice at the very beginning, he's very okay with the world ending via nuclear destruction, right? Because he has a strong spiritual belief that he will ascend to a better place. I'm not going to get into the theology of it, but he believes in a better thing for himself. All of this, not only was his squid attack like very detrimental,
Pandas.
It killed a shit ton of people, but think his belief system, in which was his crutch for life, which he based his whole existence on, is crushed in this instance as well. The people are crushed in his ideologies, his spiritual belief, his whole way of living, his whole way of life is done, because this interdimensional squid totally botches everything he's read in scripture, right? So he is looking in the mirror at himself, first off, a sinner that is weak, that gave in to a nice looking young lady. And also his belief system in which he's betrayed is also crushed. So it's literally the most detrimental thing that could happen to somebody. Usually upon bad times, people will resort to some sort of, belief system that they have within. And so this was like two birds with one stone, baby. I mean, and that makes Looking Glass right there. The duality of mirrors goes throughout this whole episode too, which I'm sure we'll go into. I really enjoyed this episode. Not the crushing of people's like souls and beliefs and, actual people, but no, it was a very well done episode, I believe.
Yeah, is that all you got about? Oh, is that all you got to say about the whole entire subject? I appreciate that. We'll talk to you next week, Justin. No, I'm just kidding. Fandom.
Coming from the guy that I talk too much. That's why.
Fandom, do you have a retort maybe pull from your CW stock?
Okay, from my stock, I pretty say like I enjoyed the hell out of this entire episode. Like I knew it was gonna be like a Looking Glass focused episode, and it was gonna be good because I was intrigued by the character since like episode 1. But just to be that crazy good, just starting it off with how it gives weight to what Lori said in episode 4, that people behind Mask are driven by trauma, and we pretty much see like Wade's trauma first shot within this episode. Even when you brought up the whole the genetic trauma, you could even like tie that into possibly Angela. Could she like get her trauma like from Will, or even when it comes to like Lady True and her supposed daughter with genetic trauma from them when she's having nightmares, of events that didn't even happen to her.
Yeah, is that just what she's giving her clone? Is that really her daughter? We'll get into that in just a little bit about these clones, or whether it's just some Dr. Manhattan made species, which I think has pretty much been all but confirmed. Alicia Kingston, I see you over there. Wu-Tang?
Yes.
Will's origin story, anything strike you there? We did get to see the squid. What's up with that? I mean, we've been kind of waiting on that the whole time.
I did not put together right away that this was old Mirror Mask, but the first thing I saw when I saw that kid, though, is this is definitely his first time at the rodeo. You cannot put a green boy out canvassing like that. Like I don't know if any of you guys have ever been out canvassing growing up at all, but you just can't drop a kid off, and especially when you're saying that, you know, this is where the whores dwell, and send him off by himself. At least incorporate the buddy system. Pops, what were you doing sending this little kid out here by himself? Thus why he ended up in a hall of mirrors, butt naked, holding his dick.
Saving souls.
He wasn't gonna save nobody's soul that night. He should have seen right through that chick from the beginning. He approached the wrong group of people. Out of all the people he could have went and talked to. I mean, Jersey, Jersey folks really ain't that bad. They're a hell of a lot more mellow than New York folks. I can tell you that by experience. He could have went and talked to anyone, but you went and picked the gangsters, like the actual, like a gang star kind of radiated off of that group. Why would you go there?
Because they need.
I understand you're not afraid of anything. However, as soon as that shit got knocked out of your hands and you started stuttering on your words and you didn't really know what to say or how to handle that situation, should you retreat, good sir. You should have known when to back up. There's a time to step in and do the work that needs to be done. But there's also a time we need to know to shut the fuck up and turn around and walk away.
I'll tell you this. This is the beginning of Looking Glass, aka Wade's bad choice in women forever. This is definitely his Achilles heel.
Yeah.
I need to see more on his ex before I can say he has a history of bad choice in women. But it definitely
paranoia ruined that relationship. His psyche is so skewed and he's so jaded that he couldn't trust anybody, and he couldn't trust. And so that's what that
I don't think she was the problem in that relationship.
She seems to be still somebody that cares about him. And the exposition we got was along the lines of, you know, you couldn't stop putting the foil in your hat. You couldn't stop questioning. It's when you are hurt so bad in a relationship, as I have been so many times.
Like she said,
and then you can't trust.
I'm trying to tell you, I'm not gonna leave you butt naked in the hall of mirrors.
And she certainly cared.
Yeah, she still
certainly
cared.
cared about the information. She was like, "Is that for a lady friend?"
Yeah.
So she cares. She probably still loves him. That's for sure.
I think she definitely does, but she knows she's not going to be the one to help him move past. If anyone can help him move past what he needs to move past.
Yeah, I mean, he's sleeping in a bunker with a tinfoil hat on and literally going through drills probably at least every day. I would go back to, and you know, we find out that I guess his cover job is focus groups, and he actually really does it, and he's good at reading people, just not women that he's attracted to, apparently. And this whole back to New York, come back to New York thing. Yeah, go ahead and ask a question, okay.
Just because you brought up that the alarm thing that he uses to run drills, do you think that that thing was sabotaged at that point in time on purpose?
It seems like it's happened before. Like these things just kind of suck.
It seems like it was like the first time it happened, because he's supposed to do like a simulation, like. Yeah, it was the first time ever it happened, because he said like he've done this like over 500 times, and nothing happened until now.
Never been an issue.
And then the guy on the phone is like, "Wait, you're supposed to do this like once every 6 weeks, like what you're doing."
Yeah.
I mean, but see, regardless of that, though, it still kept working, even though he was over the quota. So it seems like something extra, but that just might be me being too conspiracy.
I think
y'all's thoughts on that.
I think the point of that is to show how excessive he is, and to show how consumed he is by this. And I think it might also be meta commentary on, you know, how people make money off disasters after the Las Vegas shooting. Then they start scanning. Then the companies that provide security devices to scan people's bags going in the hotels can profit off that. So, you know what I mean? And that's where I'm not posing a conspiracy. I'm just saying that, you know, that's how capitalism works, and that's how those conspiracies do come about. Whether they're
just three or more people conspiring to do something together, basically.
Yeah, the only way to keep a secret between two people is to kill the other one. But so I think it's a commentary on society, on the way in which people will always fearmonger and profit off it. Obviously, there's a heavy undertone of that going throughout. But yeah, I think it's to show how excessive he is and how consumed. But I'm with you. Like, I mean, nothing's out of the fuck, it's Watchmen. AK, you could be. Trust me, I've been wrong a lot.
Yeah, well, I mean, Tech, you got any thoughts on this? I mean, we get into as well as they're trying to get people to go back to New York. This would say that New York's kind of a shithole at this point. How y'all feel
Yeah.
about that?
Hold up, calm down.
Well,
Rephrase
what I
that,
think they
rephrase
were
that.
trying to imply is that they have never gotten their numbers back up from that. People are so afraid to move back to the East Coast. I'm pretty sure that the East Coast has been affected in terms of population. That affects local economy. That affects the stock market. Even it'll affect so many things that are central to that city. So they need people to move there. So I imagine, it must have been difficult for people to move back to Hiroshima, after that bomb was dropped. I'm pretty sure it took a long time to recover.
Has anybody
from that.
seen that movie, The Outsider? In like 1954, they were already almost completely moved back into Hiroshima.
That's crazy.
Hey, okay, so I'm gonna put this to fandom and more so also to Chrissy. It took that to make motherfuckers leave New York and be afraid. This is how New Yorkers are. It took a fucking interstellar alien to come in and to make us turn around like, oh shit, we gotta get the fuck out of Dodge.
Facts. That's naive.
Which I love that this is kind of like a reverse situation from disasters in New York, because we've had, New Yorkers have gone through a lot. I mean, we had 9/11 and we still stayed strong after that. So this is kind of like, what if something even worse happened? What if a giant squid from the sky just came and killed everyone? Like, how would you feel? And the fact that people are just kind of flooding out of New York says a lot, because it also kind of plays into showing how Adrian strategically planned it. He could have dropped that squid anywhere, but he knew the best place to put that squid to get what he wanted would be to put it in New York. Because not only would people flee from New York, giving New York City less power in the House of Reps and things like that, but all this focus is on the biggest city in the world. Everybody wants to come to New York. Has just been hit with the biggest catastrophe that could possibly hit it, and I think that was so interesting to see go down.
That's a very valid point. Wow, very insightful on you, Tech. Yeah, it's like, okay, you want to kick the biggest person's ass if you want to prove that you're the toughest around. If you want to prove a point, you get New Yorkers to flee New York. You've made your point. Yeah, very. And notice that they sometimes will refer to it not just as, they'll call it the second 11. I think that's, again, meta for like, it's almost like another 9/11. And like New York is looked at as a power, like it's a power, just it's a place of empowerment for the whole country because of what happened after 9/11, how the New Yorkers bonded together. So seeing them disperse and run from it, it's just flipping again how the show does. It flips the scenarios, not necessarily like who's like, it doesn't like make it so black people are racist against white people or whatever. It just changes power dynamic. It makes it so, the police officers are half African-American, half white. It's just putting the shoe on the other foot and changing around gun laws and making people like feel, okay, so what if these white supremacists were treated like how we treat Al-Qaeda members and ISIS members? You know what I mean? It's just putting the shoe on the other foot. We don't give a shit about liberties and stuff like that for people we consider to be evil or people we don't relate to. So it's doing a lot of that. So Tech touched on a lot of that, and I think that's really what it's about right there. It's just that ruling through fear, and what better than New York City if you're going to prove your point. That's the biggest bitch to knock down, right?
Also, you got to think of it in terms of the world, right? So New York is it's known in every corner of our planet, just like London, just like Paris. You say that about Beijing or Tokyo. If something happened to one of these very mass populated cities on a global scale, it would make human beings sort of question how they relate to each other. What's more important in the world? You're taking out millions of people versus hundreds or thousands. So that would be enough to make everyone so afraid that it can happen to them. If it could happen to one of the most powerful and prosperous cities in the world, why not us? We need to unite because there's something bigger than us. And that was the whole point of Adrian's plan.
It's not even to mention the extra psychological effects with the psychic wave and this new, completely two different types of post-traumatic stress
PTSD.
disorder.
Extra
I can say the
dimensional
whole thing. I'm
anxiety.
sorry. Anyways,
Does anybody
Extra dimensional anxiety.
and one last note,
got
does
it.
anybody find it interesting that they don't tell the truth in focus groups, which is, I think that speaks truth in our own world as well, that they have these focus groups to get people's insight, and people are they're brought in there to be truthful, and they can't be 100% honest. You know what I'm
They're
saying?
going in there just to get a paycheck. That's it.
Yeah.
They're gonna say whatever they think
But
needs
they
to
don't
be
not
said.
get the paycheck. You know what I mean? They're going to get it no matter what. It's just like a lack of honesty within self.
That's
Those
why
kids
I
were
think
telling the
the
truth
kids
about
were
those
the only
smile
ones.
holes, man. Those cheers
The
were
kids
crap.
group were the only ones that, and what do they always say about kids and drunks? They will be brutally honest.
Oh yeah. Kids
Also,
are
you
bad.
got to think of the psychology of Tulsa, Oklahoma. So I've been in Georgia for X amount of years now, and these people are nice to a fault. And when I say fault, like it's not so great to be polite all the time. They
Even
insult
being
you
mean,
politely.
y'all are being nice. Like that bless your heart shit. I know what the fuck that means.
Yeah, I know
Feeling
exactly
young
what that
in
means.
your body.
Exactly. And that's a fault. That's a fault. Like when they'll say, "Oh, honey, thank you," and that they're insulting you or they want to tell you something different. Just tell me the truth. Just tell me the truth. But that is a real psychology for a lot of people in different parts of our country. They don't want to look bad. The opinions of neighbors and others and abrasiveness is looked at in a way that is dishonorable almost. If you say what's on your mind, people look at you like, you have a third eye. So
People will do anything to avoid confrontation.
Yeah.
Well.
Dudes don't want to show fear, and well, I don't know what women want because I'm not a woman, okay? Y'all got to tell me those things. No.
I think is it Mel Gibson? Is that the answer? Who is Mel Gibson? Are we playing Jeopardy? Isn't that what women
want? We're gonna skip past a little bit what happened in the police office and go into, well, him with his actual alarm, his paranoia, his meetings, him lying to himself. He has built his entire life on this supposed lie, and it's about to get shattered. This is a classic storytelling. Well, this is just a classic story in general. I kind of dig it. I was waiting on something like this. This was something that didn't jump around as much as most episodes. This was probably more of a linear episode than we've ever seen. But with Looking Glass, it's almost tragic, and you can tell he's like the smartest man in the room, unless he's attracted to a female. Then he's done for, man. Anybody
that
got that
female
problem?
point?
Story of all of our lives, dude.
That female point.
I got that problem.
That female point, man. It comes back to bite him. I mean, that opening scene with the chick who ends up running off with his clothes, kind of, it gives you the insight you need for later on when that girl that he meets at the AA meeting or the EDA meeting tricks him. He gets tricked again. It's almost like the same thing from his past is coming back again, because then he gets kidnapped. He gets fooled, gets the wool pulled over his eyes, bamboozled, whatever you want to call it. He gets tricked in the same exact way that he got from the intro. It's some pretty chick with a pretty face, leading him off. And that sweet irony or that cruel irony, better said, was very interesting to see play out. Just
irony.
Yeah.
Also, too, it's the same thing with how his spirituality was and his sexuality was crushed in the first sequence. Again, very on point. It's crushed again. Now he's all into this interdimensional security and all of this. This is how he is living his life. This is his safety net. So now he's been, he's been shown that's not true either through that video that Senator Keene shows him. And also, again, with the female. So it's just, again, it's not just like his self-respect, his dignity, his sexuality, but his whole way of belief, his whole way of living is also crushed again. I mean, this dude is just he's just smashed to pieces by this point.
And that's why I say, it seems like, especially because, the senator gets involved here. And that's why I think that was part of the setup with his alarm box. And when he was talking to that woman, when like she kissed him, you could see like he was warring with himself in the back of his head, because if you look, he's actually leaning back like while that kiss is happening, like he's trying to make himself pull away. But it's been how long since he's felt any type of intimate touch? And humans crave that. We're not meant to be solo creatures. It's coded in our DNA, really. So he's at war with himself, and as soon as that little thing happens and he notices, he jumps right back in the game, and he thinks he's on the case.
That's what you said.
Boom. Then the shit really hits the fan, and his world just explodes in front of it. Like you can see the moment his brain just pops in his skull, and he doesn't know what the hell to do.
Yeah, it's internal playing against the external conflict. What does the character need and what does the character want? He wants to solve the case. He wants to be happy. What does he need? He needs to open his eyes and realize what's really going on. So it's perfectly played out. And I think that we learned a lot more in this episode about the 7th Cavalry. I thought we were going to learn a lot more in the next episode, not this one. I was surprised on how much we got.
We did get a lot. They're basically in a mall, right?
And another Al Qaeda terrorist type of situation, that they're not in the actual church, they're staging that, and terrorist groups are known to do that shit. And here you have a senator helping them stage everything. Gee, wonder where he gets all them skills from.
And why the hell didn't we catch that?
Yeah, we knew from the freaking funeral that your boy was in on that kidnapping, and that Lori Blake came and just spoiled all his plans. So yeah, most definitely.
Well, Angela Abar did it even more as well. Like both of those two, I guess, are a wild card for them. But what's interesting, it seems like Keen is able to use Lori more. He has that leverage over her as far as Night Owl being locked up, and also the end goal of what she wants seems to be the same thing he wants, kinda. I don't know if she's in on the deal. I think she just wants to get.
Well, she's doing her time. Yeah, she's doing her time. So they caught her. Yeah, they caught her for vigilantism, and they're like, "You're either gonna serve hard time
up to." But like I said, episodes back, I think eventually her and Angela are gonna figure out there's something extra going on, and they need to work together. And I think the next episode is where we're going to see that start to really come into fruition.
Yeah.
But I could be wrong.
No, I think you're absolutely on point there, because what's happening is that the Senator Keene needs this chaos to keep the Keene Act alive, right? He needs more police officers being harmed. So he's using fear as well. He's controlling the 7th Cavalry. I believe that Judd definitely either knew he was going to die or did it himself because he was sick of the arrangement, and he was putting a stop to this whole fucking, charade. And
did this asshole just turn into Littlefinger?
Maybe, but I would say that Judd did this. He's the one that released all the guns for the cops. I think that Keene wants guns to be put back in the American people. He's running for president. One of his things he's going to run on is going to be give us back our guns. This is one thing we've seen in picket signs, and he's running against Redford, and he has this essential blackmail. Who knows what he's going to do with this video that he actually showed Looking Glass, but Looking Glass finds out that everything he's ever known is a lie, that Adrian Veidt just basically put that there through a teleporter, which the 7th Cavalry are fucking with at this point. But what is their real motivation? Keene says that group is racist, but who else do they have working on it? It's just a bunch of different people working on the same thing without each other knowing, and they're all going to cause a catastrophic event. What if you have a bunch of those machines in one place at any given time? Will it cause some sort of reaction? Seems like there is a definite plan, though, and I guess it has to involve Lady True and that trillionaire ass crazy woman. I don't know. Y'all's thoughts. I know I unloaded a lot just then, but go ahead.
Oh man, Lady True. Let me tell you, when we see that truck again, and he's looking in the back, making sure that it was actually no croutons in the back of the truck, he actually pulls out a box that has Lady True's symbol on it. It has her logo right there. And from that moment, everything started to snap together. That Will Reeves is right. there is a darker conspiracy going down in Tulsa. There's a lot connected. More people are connected than we understand. So does this mean that, you know, the 7th Cavalry is, well, the 7th Cavalry is a ruse, but is she supplying the 7th Cavalry? Like, what is, you know, where are they getting this stuff from?
Yeah. Hey, Day Day, that crazy bitch out there again. That's what I keep wanting to say every time.
That's so fitting. That's so fitting.
Well, I said this before the stream, and so I'll just regurgitate it because it was off air, is that, you know, Lindelof said in the official podcast, which is great supplemental content because you can actually get an insight and perspective on what he's trying to do, that the story that we're seeing is Angela's story, but the origin is Tulsa 21. So I was always trying to write that in my own mind. I'm like, how is that? You know, that's her grandfather. Okay, that's fine, but that's still not her origin if it's her story. So the story is now going to be combined with the nostalgia pills. She is going to experience the past, just like Lady True's daughter's experiencing the past. I think the message that they're sending right here is that if we are all connected and we could all feel what everybody else has been going through, we'd be a lot less likely to drop bombs or squids on people. Because, so, you know, the overall message of this is getting driven home. I don't believe Lady True is working with them. I think Lady True is more so working with Will, and they're a third party. There's Judd in the police force, and then there's Keen in the 7th Cavalry, and then there's Lady True and Vite. And they have the same skill sets, whether they're on the same line, I don't know. But that's the major point here, is that they want, if the origin is Tulsa 21, now it is Angela's origin because she's been through it. So it's more about understanding what people have been through, not dismissing it and so forth.
Yeah, no, I think that's a really good point, Justin. And that's why I like you, man. You give these really good insights on the story that, you know, you actually know what you're talking about.
Well, I don't mean to dismiss a lot of the.
I'm not being an asshole.
No, I appreciate it. I don't mean to dismiss a lot of the little details. Those are the fun part. And that's like, it's like True Detective. It's like, you know, you go through all these different suspects and you get an insight into their society, their culture. You get to walk in somebody else's shoes. Empathy is what story's driven on. How many different shoes do we get to walk in throughout this story? A lot of different shoes. And now how many different shoes are they going to be walking through the nostalgia drugs? And it's just going to combine that sentiment. So like the brick and mortar of this is that how they get to that. I can't reckon what's going on with Vite and True, but all I know is they seem to have the same skill set. They have the same motivation and goal. That's what we need to find out. I see 3 parties in this though.
Facts, and I appreciate everything that everyone has been saying. Y'all been dropping knowledge. We've been playing off each other. But Fandom D Saint, man, you are not as aggressive in conversation as we are. I need to hear your thoughts, sir.
Okay, I was just
for me, I kind of agree with Justin at this point with the whole. I don't think that they're all play on the same side. If anything, I can see like Keenan is gonna try to target the tower, which is like, I think it's either 2 or 3 days. As they said from like previous episode, I think that's what he's gonna plan on attacking at this point. Maybe that's why we saw the box. Maybe it's possible the 7th Cavalry has, you know, infiltrated. What's her freaking company called? The Vault Company or
True.
Whatever, the True. Yeah, there we go.
The True Company.
It seems too obvious. I know I can't figure it out half the time either. It's just because it's so obvious.
Yeah, True Industries.
Just like Redford.
Yeah.
You know.
Go ahead.
Is that it?
Pretty much.
Oh yeah, that was really awkward. Thanks, Fandom. I mean, fuck, dude.
Like I freaking muted right afterwards.
I just had to make it weird. Okay. Anybody else on that? Before I move on to a little bit more, I don't know. Whatever. Fuck it. I'll just keep going. All right. So he's in this. Oh, go ahead, Tech. I see you there. Just say it. No.
Well, I got something interesting watching this episode, and it feels like this is like the ghost of Rorschach. Because I've been always kind of upset. The one thing I can say that I've been upset about the show is how Rorschach kind of gets written off, gets dismissed. Like he's this crazy conservative right-wing, you know, guy and now all he's done is made the 7th Cavalry. But here in this episode, he is more prominent than ever. I mean, the ghost of Rorschach is prominent, from Looking Glass being almost like this time's Rorschach. He's very much like Rorschach. He acts like him. He has the analytical powers like Rorschach has, and Yeah, and the beans, and one of the greatest things about this is that Rorschach's right, and that Keen sees it. Saw past all of that. He gets shown this tape, and we get shown that Adrian Veidt is a liar. And finally, his truth, his last message before he goes, comes to fruition. We get to see that Adrian Veidt set this whole thing up like he wrote in his journal before he went.
He did. It makes you wonder what he set up before he left.
Yeah, that is also something I was going to touch on later. I'd fully agree with that. This is where we see, like, there's always been comparisons with Rorschach and with Mirror Glass, and here is where you really see it. Like, Rorschach, he was a bit more on the game in seeing what was really behind the mask than Mirror Glass was, but now that he is, we're gonna see how he ends up handling the situation. And for me, I see why he did what he did, but damn, bro, you stepped right into that, letting yourself be used, and you could have taken a different route without the consequences that you were told was going to happen. You could have changed it, but you still played into both hands, and now that's going to cause a whole lot more ruckus than I think he foresaw it was going to cause. He thinks he's doing the right thing, and I understand why he has the thought pattern he does, but he's still not looking at the whole picture.
Yeah, he's trying to right the world, but it's his perception of the world in which right depends on, right? What dictates right. So it's the same thing with Rorschach. The way he went about, he found that New York was just, he found it to be a cesspool. People were just susceptible to their base desires, and you know, he just was totally, pretty much just hated humanity because he looked at it as weak. And he's trying to solve the comedian's murder, right? It's a comedian. I mean, yeah, I'm not saying the guy deserved to die, but it's not like, you know, he was an innocent by any means. Not saying that you shouldn't go look to see who killed people. Murder is a problem. I'm gonna make my stance right here. I know it's brave to say, but murder's not okay.
Unless you're Dexter, then it's okay.
Yeah. Best anti-hero ever. Why does he do it? Because it's fun. But anyways, so like he's going through this and he's trying to right the world in his own way. But you know, his perception of the world is constantly being dictated and altered by all these outside influences, like religion and these interdimensional fucking portals now and all this. So yeah, you know, this is very close to the film in the graphic novels, and I loved it. And I think that he's jaded, you know, he's a broken man. And
he's always been a follower.
Yes.
Is the problem from the very beginning, and he doesn't know quite how to come out that. Rorschach, one of my favorite lines from him in the original comic, and I do believe they put it in the movie too, was, "I'm not in here with you assholes. Y'all motherfuckers are in here locked up with me. I'm running this shit."
That is my favorite line as well from Rorschach. Yes.
And what's beautiful about this? Oh shit. Oh, never mind. It was Dornish that dropped. That's on me. Okay, what's beautiful about this though is that going off what Tex said, with this being the ghost of Rorschach, you have both of them. You know, Sister Night and I would say Looking Glass kind of going down Rorschach paths. And I think it's really cool because Rorschach had a split personality. And then you're seeing these two people get both ends of the spectrum. And Looking Glass is more like the subdued, calm Rorschach. And then Sister Night is that Punisher symbol Rorschach, you know.
What I think Rorschach... what I think Looking Glass is if Rorschach would have had structure in his life, because their backgrounds are so drastically different. Rorschach comes from a completely broken home, no father figure, mother in extreme poverty, prostituting herself. He had the worst childhood imaginable. But here you have Looking Glass coming from Bible Belt, really strong moral compass, and you know, his family members, I need water. His family members did that, you know, they oh hell no, sorry guys.
Please don't start crying. I mean, God, it's okay. I mean, rest in peace, Rorschach. You will be missed.
Instilled these values in him, and that is how he saw the world, with a moral compass. Rorschach saw the world at its worst. So that's why you have these opposing
Black and
fights
white.
within these two men. Yeah. Black and white, exactly, just like the mask.
Yeah.
And that's why
Conditioning.
Rorschach liked the comedian so much. He knew the comedian saw the same shit that he did. He just chose to go about dealing with it a different way.
Does that mean there's going to be a gay sex scene with the comedian and Rorschach in American Hero Story? Because we got one. Captain Metropolis got taken to town by Hooded Justice, and I don't know how Looking Glass felt about that. He stopped eating his beans. I mean, he probably did what I would do. I'm like, what the hell is happening right now? Look
think
into
he had
my
the same
eyes.
He had the same feeling a lot of us did, I think. We were all like, okay, why is this here? Like, he stopped eating his beans, like, what? Almost like a what the fuck to me. Anyway, that's what I got. I don't know. What did you guys think?
It was complete shocking, and I think for all the conservative people, horror, because think about it. This is the first vigilante, this is the vigilante that founds the Minutemen. This is, Hooded Justice, this fabled hero, and you straight up just watch him go to town on Captain Metropolis, and you're sitting there like, yo, this happened. Like, the first scene we ever get from the show is him brutalizing these robbers and saving him, and now we see he's running off, being like blowing people's minds because people probably didn't suspect him to be gay, and now that's a whole new thing. Now you're like, oh my god, this guy probably had a love interest, and there's this whole thing, with Captain Metropolis, like that probably just blew people out of the water to watch that.
There's an extra bit that actually just got jumped into my head as you were saying that. A lot of people are theorizing that Will, Angela's grandfather, was the original Hooded Justice. Like, the Hooded Justice we see is just a character from the TV. But I'm saying is there's a lot of evidence, like in our real world, that you can say that these things are thrown out, or, well, he was gay and he did this back in the day, he did that are meant to tear black men or men of color down a peg, and being gay is still frowned upon even today. For as much as the movement has progressed us, it's still frowned upon. So it's controversy, and it tears down someone's character if they're associated with that. So if Hooded Justice was actually a black man, it makes sense that they would put that into the narrative as something to make him seem like he really wasn't about shit. Like, maybe he might have saved some people, but look at this. You still can't really trust him. You can't put your faith or your trust in someone like that. So it's interesting. If it fits, to me, it fits with that theory and the culture of today.
But I don't, and I agree with you on that. But in this world, and this is just how I'm taking it, it seems to me that there's a commentary on overcorrection and the other side of the left that, coming out and saying that a certain character in your book was gay because you want to, like, that's not empowerment. You know what I mean? If you didn't write it like that, like, it's about shoehorning in diversity, both ethnic and sexual. I think that it's more of a retelling and a reforming again. I don't really think in this society that's been depicted to me, how I'm taking it, that this would shame or would be like throwing dirt. I think it's like they are creating it to what fits the current narrative of this world, which is, I think there's something to be said for the overcorrecting of things as well, because it's not authentic and it's not true representation. And I think that's why it was so silly, and I think it's why it was so overt and almost cringy, because this is just my take on it. As a liberal, I hate forced sentiment in any sense of it, and true representation only can come from those who can truly convey and invoke emotions that are true about their own situations. You can't have a bunch of white guys in Hollywood shoehorn in diversity. You know what I mean? That's not empowering. Like, empowering is having people of color, people of different sexualities actually telling their stories. I think that's just how I'm taking it.
I agree with you. Like, okay, it's semi up for interpretation, and I agree with your point of view there. But if you read they have Pedia articles every week on HBO.com, I think. Anyways, I think Dornish can hook that up with the link, maybe. putting too much pressure on us. But in a letter that Petey sent, he talks about how the creator of American Hero Story is taking certain liberties, and it almost seems like it's been a smear campaign against hooded justice. And also, if you look at the origin of the homosexual superhero, it comes from Hollis Mason, who got spurned. I think he was the first Night Owl, right, Dornish? And he didn't have
first Night Owl.
Too many good things to say about it. This almost seemingly replaced the rape scene with the comedian and Silk Spectre, is what it almost seems like. I think it was a legitimate slap in the face to certain people.
Yeah, I haven't done the Pedopedia.
Yeah, the Pedopedia directly tells us, Dale Petey, remember he has a background as a historian before he was hired by the FBI to do their desk work and be their researcher. So he's been warning through his articles about the fallacies of the American Hero Story show. It's not really staying true to history as it is sensationalism. So it's taking the pieces of history that are the juiciest, and the rest of them, it's filling in the gaps to make it more entertaining. So while the comedian and Silk Spectre having this assault between them and a complex relationship is kind of a drag to the director, he kind of views it in a way where let's kill this, make that a legit relationship, and let's put something more controversial and juicier. What if those rumors about Captain Metropolis and Hooded Justice were real? So let's put
Apparently
that out there.
There's video evidence now.
Yeah, well,
so is
according to AHS, but it's a perversion of the truth, literally a perversion of the truth. So
but does
you're
this
supposed
perversion
to be watching
lead,
breadcrumbs.
Does it lead to the defacing, the disgracing because of him or not?
I think what it's the breadcrumb that's being left for us as the viewer is to not trust what you see. Look where you're not supposed to look. If they have a flare in front of you here, look to the other side.
Yeah.
Because Hooded Justice everything points more to Will Reeves being Hooded Justice than anything else. And why would Will Reeves want to hide the fact that he's been Hooded Justice? Well, I don't think it would be great to be a Black mass vigilante in the 20s, 30s, 40s, 50s. It's not a good idea, period, for him. So he has to deflate. And I really think that he had to stage the whole the Mueller guy, the wrestler that they caught.
That's why he had to disappear. Yeah,
exactly.
And he had the noose and I believe the red blanket over his legs at the end of the first episode.
Yeah,
exactly.
I mean, Petey does say that he's not a fan, so don't treat him like one. To what's her face in the Lori in the plane.
Blake.
Yeah, thank you. Lori, Agent Blake, and so I really like that because he's going to give straight information, not a historical accounting that's been molded for whatever reason. But yeah, it's just I don't know. The takeaway I've gotten is that it wouldn't necessarily be a bad thing to be gay in this society that they're depicting. So I don't know if that would tarnish his reputation, but again, it's up for interpretation. That's just the general, everything has been, even Angela's husband takes her name and all that. Like the whole power dynamic is totally different.
Yeah.
That's what makes it interesting, though, is these conversations. That's what I'll say. Like, I think that's what it's meant to do, is to talk about stuff like this, about true diversity, true depicting of it, and representation. And it gets people thinking about what is true representation, what is truly empowering.
And I think it shows just how desensitized the world is at this point, to the point where on TV you can see all this violence on an extreme level, because if you remember that first scene we get from AHS, he's like brutalizing these robbers, and you can see the blood going everywhere. You can see him like really breaking into them, and here, yeah, and then you can see this scene with Captain Metropolis, and it's like it's very graphic, but that's the thing. If it's on TV, we've moved very far away from, oh, you can't put this on TV, to pretty much at this point you could put whatever you want.
Did you
on
notice
TV.
all the censor warnings though that they show before it?
Yeah.
There's a crazy amount of them. So yeah, they're depicting it, but it's like a crazy amount of like trigger warnings before it as well. So I think, yeah, I think it's what they've been doing the whole time, is you just putting everybody in a different place. You know what I mean? Switching around the board as far as power goes.
Yeah, and with a super desensitized world like we have here, what is it going to take to shock and awe people? What is it that's more than an interdimensional attack? After we've seen what Looking Glass has shown here, and we've all known this, but nobody in the world knows that Adrian Veidt is the one that was behind the interdimensional attack that affected so many damn people. He finds out this truth. We find out Senator Keene is a player, like we've been talking about. And also, they are working on, let's see if I can find the name of that damn thing. And I got it right here, but I can't remember the damn name of it. I'll find it in
Don't
just
kind
a
of people
second.
already know that he did do the squid thing, but they just don't believe it as they publicize the whole Rorschach journal, though?
It's like a conspiracy theory, I would say.
Yeah, it's a huge conspiracy theory. No one really sees it as actual fact, or not enough people see it as fact to affect it.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's why when you have Looking Glass who can supposedly tell when people are telling the truth, remember they're only telling their truth, what they believe to be true. So he can tell if they believe it's true or not, to a certain degree. But I think it's a commentary on that, of people believing in this or that, these strong ideologies and all that work into it. So it's like, yeah, they might be telling the truth. That's how people pass lie detector tests that are sociopaths. So it's just people
well, really quick, it was the
CX.
Hold on, really quick.
Sorry,
it was the
guys.
CX924 teleportation window, and I'm waiting for Hack's Dogma to give us a breakdown on that. Hax is in the chat. Go check him out if you haven't. Fantastic content creator, and I'm not just blowing smoke up his ass. He's really great content
I did
creator.
not know this. I will go check you out.
Oh,
Very
yeah.
good, sir.
Let me give a shout out to everybody in the chat real quick, because I forgot to do that and I feel like an asshole. Mackenzie L. Burns, aka Sasa, what is good? John St. Baptiste, thank you so much for coming out. Chrissy of Old Stones, what is up? Hax Dogma, thank you so much for coming out, sir. Let's see. Dark Mother, Miss Duncan the Tall, Bravosi Broadcast, aka Fake Aria, got a good little series coming out with her, The Chronicles of Fire and Blood. That's going to be fantastic. Yeah, lots of frogs and goat sex and licking goats in the chat. I don't know what they're talking about there, but we should get in on it because I think it's an interesting convo.
I don't know how
Danny
we got
McKay,
there.
bang bang.
Yeah.
I asked and no one answered.
Talk about the decay of society. Yeah.
Well, let's just say maybe a secret code I can't tell you about.
Oh, and you can. I'll shamelessly plug it, Johnny. After the dust, or before the dust settles. Before the dust settles, we'll have a one-off for Watchmen, unless it goes really, really well, and we're all inspired to do many, many more. But the after show that we do for Westworld, a half hour after it airs, Hax Dogma, me and W. Axel Foley, we'll be doing it on Sunday. Sorry about that shameless pitch, but just thought
awesome.
Hax, yeah,
stuff. Yeah,
it'll be
definitely
fun.
Send them links out with the Twitters and the Facebooks and
Oh,
whatnot.
I've already put it out in the street corner. It's everywhere.
Yeah, man. You're a piece of shit, Justin, and that's all I got to say. Hax knows it. And he wrote a book about how much of a piece of shit you are.
Obviously didn't read his book.
No, and it's all good. Dornish, I rudely cut you off and went on this crazy diatribe. Go ahead if you remember what the hell you were talking about. If not, just talk about something else. Just bring something else up.
Don't blame
It's your birthday, Dornish.
Frack.
Out of this call, try that. No, I know what's happening.
No, I don't know why that happens to me. Like when I'm kind of sick, like I'm getting
we could be back.
Yep, Chrissy says we're back. So we're back.
I saved the day. I did it.
Oh, okay. What I was talking about earlier.
Oh, wait.
Okay, so
hey everybody, sorry.
I think about Rorschach's journal almost like that Moore documentary about 9/11, where there's so many conspiracy theories in there that people either buy into it or they're like, ah, this guy's just a loony. You know what I mean?
It's a vehicle for any ideology. Look at, like I've talked about this before. Marx didn't think that his Marxist views would spawn up in Russia. You know what I mean? Like all these people's doctrines have been used as vehicles for a ton of different beliefs. I've said, the Constitution seems pretty straight up, right? Like pretty boilerplate. Plate. No, people still won't agree on it. They can take any of this
crazy
text.
Cult militias have formed off the Constitution.
Yeah, so I totally agree with you. It's just like people, and there's so much in there that could just easily lend itself to any type of ideology, both good and bad. Mostly, people will use it as a vehicle, unfortunately, to go down a pretty dirty road, and it's hard to get clean.
Cults. That's why religion is such a staple to be used to start these types of organizations.
And it's easy, especially if you have some sort of savior or some martyr, like Rorschach is. John St. Baptiste, oh my God, speaking of which, Frozen 2 comes out this weekend. If nobody hears from me for 4 days, I'm not being rude, I'm just exhausted. Those soccer moms are insane. John, does that mean that you're going to be like hosting a bunch of sex parties with soccer moms? I don't get it, man. But
no,
hopefully it has something to do with your regular job.
He literally means them moms be insane. Yeah, like I've worked at hotels when these things have gone down. I know exactly where he's coming from.
Come on, let the
Stay
joke
strong,
simmer.
Baptiste. I'll be keeping you in my thoughts.
See, AK gotta just buzzkill McGee over there.
Suspicious nonetheless.
I gotta send my man some strength, man. Being in the service industry is not easy.
I know sleeping in a coffin during the day isn't easy either.
Well, let's talk about the what we see evidently on a moon that's orbiting Mars.
All right, it's orbiting Jupiter, and I want to say it's Ganymede or Io.
I thought it was.
It might be Europa.
Yeah, like he's on a moon, and your girl tell y'all he's on a moon.
All right, you said the moon. Okay, so technically you were the closest, so you win. You win. But
I don't know which moon though. I thought it was.
I just said a moon. It doesn't really matter. I think what's important here is that we learned that I think that Veidt put himself there, thinking it was going to be a paradise, and now he's trying to escape. So I think we don't have full proof. There's always been just enough evidence to say that he has enough agency that it doesn't make sense that he's being held there because he has so much power. And everybody is, referring to him as master, and just enough to be like, oh shit, he might be stuck there because he is trying to. So I think it's self inflicted exiled. You know what I mean?
Let me tell you, I think I have a possible place that could be, and I believe it's one of Jupiter's many moons, and that there is a big rift there through time and space, and I have evidence actually, because if you go back to the shot of him looking at this planet, it is a red planet, which would instantly bring people to Mars, but you can see these gases around it, which makes me think Jupiter. And the planet in front of Jupiter happens to be Mars. So that kind of would explain why Veidt is on one of these Jupiter planets. But what makes me think that there's a rift in space and time here is that when he gets launched, it seems that out of nowhere he just goes from being in this beautiful green place to being on the moon. He's on a moon in the middle of nowhere, and it's very confusing. And then when the game warden pulls him back, as he's coming back, we see the scene change at an instant, like he just got pulled through like the looking glass. He's completely in a different place. So my theory is that he's close to Mars. He's on one of Jupiter's many moons, and that he's there because there's a rift through time and space that he's messing with. So that way he can get back home to Earth.
Okay, so his
my original theory was Dr. Manhattan is the one holding him in that little pocket space, because the Dr. Manhattan, I think, is the only person that could. That's why I think him and True are working together in some form. There's something going on there that we haven't quite been shown yet.
Well, what I'm gonna say is, oh well, thank you, Hacks. Hacks confirmed it's Europa, which is Jupiter. Now you have Saturn, I think, in between Jupiter, but Mars is still in within shot. Now this is an orbiter, and I would say just what would you call it? Dang it, I can't think of the proper term for the satellite that he is getting help from. But it has to be something that they're keeping an eye on the outside, or it can just be a regular
It's
a space
probably one of
satellite.
It'd be true satellite.
Probably, since she owns almost everything technological in this world, especially U.S. wise.
He knows he's signaling her.
Now, she admires him somewhat since he's not in the statue. I think she may be the one to save him, but Dr. Manhattan is definitely the one that has them in this pocket world. I definitely agree with you on that, AK, and Dornish is right. He's making a race of people better than man. In his eyes, their God has left them. Where did Dr. Manhattan go? Is what I'm thinking. Now, this could be Lady True's concoction, and maybe Dr. Manhattan is not that involved. Lindelof did say that Manhattan's involvement will be minimal because once he gets involved, it's such a game changer that the whole story can go to shit if you don't watch yourself.
Quick question though, when we see the save me, we see like a D right next to it. It's like, who's this D is he specifically talking to? And it's like, if that's true, it's like satellite, like wouldn't he be worried that she might see that if she's keeping him prisoner? Or even if Dr. Manhattan is involved as well, it's like, wouldn't he be worried like Dr. Manhattan just may not even end up saving him?
What does he want? What does he want to do? We know he wants to leave, right? We know he wants to get out of there, but what is his motivation? We don't have any evidence that his plan is any different than Lady True's. We don't have any evidence that it's, you know what I mean? Like, we have no insight into what he is up to, other than trying to leave. But leave to do what? We got a guy in a room that needs to get out. Why does he need to get out?
I think just because he's Adrian and he does not like to be caged at all. He just wants to get out. And then from there is where we'll see whatever his ultimate goal was, because I think he got trapped there for a reason. And it isn't just for imprisonment for the aftermath of what happened with his first catastrophic plan. I think there's something else going on. And Dr. Manhattan helped True trick him into going there. But now I don't think he's thinking on level that Lady True is who he needs to be looking at as an enemy, but he's still thinking it's only Dr. Manhattan.
So I guess now, what is the implication of him leaving? What does that do?
Well, he made a deal with Robert Redford to become president. This is how Redford has been president up until this time right now.
True.
You would say he was tricked. He even said he was tricked. You could say that Redford and the U.S. government tricked him into this because he is nothing but he's evidence to the crime. Yes. He is, can blackmail them. So he needs to be put off. Whatever his plan was, Lady True maybe agreed to put it in motion, but I think she has a little more selfish aspect here and is cutting him out of the link. I think the wild card, though. Go ahead, Dornish.
I think it is a matter of somebody's playing the world's smartest man. Somebody outsmarted him. They in this instance, I really think that that's what's been biting him in the ass. That he's pissed off that someone got one up on him, and it's he acts like a man who's going through this middle-age crisis. You know what I mean? Like, he's afraid he's not relevant anymore. That's everything in his actions scream
his
that.
Last chamber of life, so to speak.
Shut up.
Well, like a serial killer that wants to get caught because they want credit for what they've done. If he's a megalomaniac, so like, he's been shut out because, like Johnny said, the only way to keep a secret between two people is kill the other one. So they've essentially killed him. I think I'm a firm believer that Manhattan does not come back, because Manhattan is this world's god, for better or worse, in many ways. So it's like, they're all reaching out to God, and they all have this strong tie to him with all these phone calls they're making that are obviously not going anywhere. So it's like God can't come in and save everybody. I think it's what is Vite what are the implications of Veidt showing back up? And I think it's not going to be exactly in line with True, because True's kind of taking Veidt's space.
Well, he
Quite
can
literally.
break open what the 7th Cavalry want to achieve. He can break open what this crisis, this information that they're hiding and using to gather up a force. If he does it, then millions of people will be with the revolution of the 7th Cavalry. If they found out all of this was a lie, that the government, who are Democrats, happen to be Democrats at this point in time, have literally just bamboozled them since 1985.
Yeah. Using fear too. So again, goes along with our narrative of people, because no matter what you say about why you put a mask on, fear is at the base of it. Whether it's fear of your identity, whether it's fear of your life, for doing serving out justice or committing crime, you put a mask on. The base of that is always fear. So this fear-based culture could get cracked wide open if they find out that they've been being, because the one thing people hate is being told what to do.
There's a pervasive layer of squid fear already.
It's just like Lori said, and I think it also highlights that part where the senator is talking with Miramask, and Miramask is like, "You're not even going to attempt to, to skew your voice or to hide your voice at all." And Senator was just like, "Oh shit, am I still actually wearing this mask?" He literally forgot he was in his alter ego. Like he knew he was there for just one purpose, and that's what he was serving, and he totally forgot he had a mask on. That was just him.
Yeah, I feel he was a little too straight up with it, and we do have the final scene, not to jump ahead, but with the 7th Cavalry rushing into Looking Glass's house. There could be many reasons for this. An obvious one, but if they were trying to be that obvious, it probably wouldn't be this obvious, is that they are, getting rid of him. Anyways, he's carried out his duty. It seems like he was being far too honest with Looking Glass and wanted to show that, hey, yeah, I've been doing some shady shit, but I'm going to be honest with you. The best way to get somebody to trust you is to give them a little white lie, like to expose yourself a little bit, like not a white lie, but to say something that's not advantageous for you, to shine, that doesn't shine the best light on you. Like you say, hey, yeah, I stole that cookie from the cookie jar. They're like, oh, he's an honest person. And then you go off and do a whole bunch of like bigger crimes. You know what I mean? It's like feigning.
Exactly what he did.
Justin, let me throw this at y'all with the teleporter, the interdimensional wormhole, so to speak, that they have. I think they're going to take him, of course. They're going in there with shotguns. If they were going to kill him, they wouldn't leave it off like that. I agree with you. They have to have a human test subject. I think Looking Glass is perfectly set up to go into that other side, that other dimension, and for us to see through his eyes a little bit of what's going on. He probably won't be there but for a split second, but they have to have a human test subject. And he needs to be taken off the radar. He knows too much,
Which is
why not use him?
Sent to his house in the coming scene.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense, because he's carried out the action, right? They let him go to work. They let him sit at his desk where the FBI bugs shit. That's what they do. And they let him do that. And then when he got home, gone.
And hopefully, because we saw, he's in his little crisis. He threw out the new security system thing that came, but then he went to go pick it back up. So, he's still on that. He still knows he can't trust everything. So he's falling back on his old strengths, but it may not be quick enough because he has no idea these guys are coming, and he is very unhinged and ill prepared. So we might lose Miramask in the next episode or two. I don't know.
Him taking that back out of the garbage.
Looking Glass, Looking Glass. Just like the
Yeah,
episode.
man.
Like, his name is Looking Glass. And keep seeing you say Mirror
He's
Guy.
Mirror Guy.
Her Mirror Glass.
you know who he is. He know who he is. He's just
I'm not ready to lose LG.
Me either. I hope he pulls through. I really do. I mean, he has the fighting skills for it. I feel like I don't think he would be in the position he is in the police force if he couldn't properly defend himself. But I think he is gonna at least get very wounded from those people, because you can be as strong as you want.
They got
he
Angela
surrendered.
good.
He surrendered.
Killer Bees for Life, Axel, podcast Winterfell, DVR podcast. Tech, you've been wanting to say something for a minute. Go for it.
Yeah. Man, Looking Glass, I think what makes him such a valuable asset and what makes him so high is the fact that he is good with analyzing people, but he's not so much a field person. And I mean, if they could take out Angela and all these other cops, then what's to say that? And I hate to be the guy to like, try to rip it all down, but he's not a good test subject because he's crazy, or on the verge of breaking. Because if you send him through on this thing that he's definitely afraid of, he's going to come out even more traumatized. You're going to want somebody
using Angela for that test subject at some point.
Yeah, at first it's like, does it kill the person? And then you move on to like the psychological, like like we noticed how fragile, like how holding on to life has led to like the just total disposal of life, like just without a thought with the cloning, right? Nobody wants to lose their favorite little kitty or puppy. And then that one's just a little bit smaller, so they put it in an oven, burn it up, so it's like this love and this needing to hold on to nostalgia, to this connection. It has led to a total dismissal of life when people are trying to hold on to it, because now they're cloning them, and if it's a little too small, now it's gone. But I mean, Tech's got some good points there, that he's not the best test subject. The only argument against that, I think, is what Johnny was saying. He needs to be probably done with. And as far as him defending himself, he gave up and already surrendered to them when they didn't have any weapons. Yeah. You know what I mean? So very it's true. Like, I mean, and that's all, like, we can talk about who could win a boxing match between Homer Simpson and Peter Griffin all day. I mean, it's a fictional story, but we can only go off what we've seen on screen. So I don't think, I mean, but what is the possibility of actual hooded, what is the possibility of having some of the Angela's buddies, like Red Scare and all that, coming after them, and they're actually, the 7th Cavalry is there to protect him? You know what I mean? It could go a few different ways.
Look, what if, okay.
I mean, he outed one of their own, right? What do cops do to ones that rat?
Kill them, but we got Podcast Winterfell talking about they're going to try to blow up the millennial clock or drop a bomb through the portal. What if they're trying to blow up Mars and kill Dr. Manhattan? Like, Dr. Manhattan is who killed Rorschach. If they've made a cult around this, maybe they're trying to get back at him somehow. Or what Keen's doing is manipulating them into doing something to Dr. Manhattan to get him to make this world-changing event. Because you have this two sides going. I don't know. I'm just spitballing out of my ass right now. Go ahead. I'll shut up.
If they're really going to try to kill Dr. Manhattan, that's like the dumbest thing ever to come up with.
I mean,
yeah, I think
they're not try to do that. And I don't even think he's on Mars anymore.
You got to go back to the PDpedia file from the New Frontiersmen with that article, The White Flight to Mars.
Oh God!
With that whole theory that they want to transport themselves to Mars because they want to get like this manifest destiny,
ascend to heaven, be with God.
They want to be on the red planet with the blue god with all the white people. That's essentially what that article said. So I think that's what that portal is for. They want to start a new America because they don't like the left America.
Unless Dr. Manhattan,
write their own.
Exactly.
We haven't seen any black clones Dr. Manhattan's made, so maybe Dr. Manhattan's the real racist here.
Or so we think. I think I've seen one. But that theory is unconfirmed. I don't know.
I mean, Angela and her man could be Dr. Manhattan clones. You know what I mean?
I think he's a clone for sure.
I think her husband definitely could be a Dr. Manhattan clone.
I think he's Will Reeves' clone.
The implications of all these events have essentially destroyed.
Ew, Will Reeves' clone? Ew.
That's what I was saying earlier.
Yeah.
I hope that's not
How
the
would
case.
she hate him? What would make her hate him? His rigorous police officer life? Him being hooded justice?
No.
I
don't know Targaryen spillers up in here.
He's not fertile. They can't have babies. Everything leads to him being a clone. And then you got the puppy disposal unit which I don't know
Oh
how
my
everybody
God.
felt
I didn't
about
even want to
that.
talk
But
about the
fuck
puppy
you, Looking
disposal.
Glass, for not taking that puppy home. Fuck you, bro.
Yo, when I saw
I
that
hope he
part, the only
died.
Dog
thing I
does not
thought
want to
was,
go
wait a
home with
minute.
Looking Glass.
Yeah, what the hell were you doing with the puppy, bruh? Where the fuck is the puppy going? Why are you pushing that button?
That
What
was
is
a
happening right now?
That's what happens when you can create anything. That's what happens when you become, you know what
Yeah,
I mean?
life
Like,
totally doesn't mean
it
anything.
becomes meaningless. And think about these people's belief systems with Dr. Manhattan. Okay, okay, they're gone. They're out the fucking window with interdimensional squids following them and all that. All your doctrine is none of it. Then maybe you can mold a little bit to it. We know how, like I said, you can turn anything into a vehicle. My belief is that it would perfectly make sense for people to try to get closer to God or do this or that. The will whole thing. I mean, I think the story there is I think Hooded Justice might hold up for him because he hates that Angela wears a mask, right? Because same as like Lori and same as this goes, they see the folly of that and they're pushing their views, and he doesn't want to see her go down this path because she's not a just person either. She beats people indiscriminately. She does egregious things to carry out justice, and this is not the road to go down. Yeah, everybody's got their fucking issues here, and I think that Keen wants to become president. I don't think he has intergalactic ambition. I think a lot of these are very grounded, and the overall sentiment is the sharing of feelings and the doomsday clock coming and this Armageddon supposedly going to happen again, and they can use this as a catalyst for change to get what they want. So who's going to get what they want and who has the power?
Look, King wants to be the Martian leader of all the white weirdos. Okay, I don't know.
Can we get Tech's final thoughts since it's his bedtime?
Smart. Hey, pleasure doing a stream with you, by the way. Very smart. 16 years old, people. 16 years old.
Yes, like I was saying in our private chat, it is quite refreshing that a young man is
very insightful
on this higher level. We appreciate your presence, Tech. Give us your final thoughts, please, sir.
Well, I would think you don't build up the young man's hubris too much. Let him become wise through.
Oh, the young are going to eat
I think
experience
he has
and
to keep him humble. You know. I think he's in very good hands.
I think there's been a little too much coddling of today's generation. And when I was young, you could see orange groves as far as I could see.
And you have to walk to school barefoot in the snow uphill both ways.
Yeah, but you suck. So you know what I mean? These kids are going to these kids are going to eat us alive, dude. You know what I mean? Final product sucks. We suck. All right. Is he still here?
No, he peed.
For everybody, that's not even a secret conversation. You might as well say it out loud because it pops up on the screen. That's why I was telling y'all not to talk shit.
Out on us. He is adhering to Mama's wishes. It is bedtime. He had to go.
But AK will let us know what happened later. I'm just kidding. I do want to go back a little bit. Now, this cloning seems to be relatively fucking commonplace here. Very easy. Matter of fact, I just want to throw this out there. Tobacco is a Schedule 1 narcotic now. I don't know why I got all freaking Peter Brady or whatever you want to call it on that, but tobacco is a Schedule 1 product. Also, cloning is every day now, so maybe Dr. Manhattan doesn't have to make those clones. Those could be now. I still don't know what the hell is going on with the lake babies, but we'll come back to that. This cloning process, who do you think's mostly behind it? Lady True seems to be behind this pet process, and I would say she's behind a lot of cloning herself. If there's a difference, if Dr. Manhattan is making his own race of people, which we've seen evidence of, I know Dornish is I'm gonna actually let Dornish speak on that right now. And also, we've seen Lady True with the cloning. So, Dornish, your thoughts?
So, referring back to the material, the original Watchmen graphic novel, at the end of the novel, when Veidt is kind of, relishing in his accomplishments, and everyone else is kind of broken. Night Owl and Lori don't know what the hell to make of what just happened, and they know they have to keep quiet. Rorschach is done. Dr. Manhattan just looks at Veidt and he tells him, I think I'm just gonna step away from here and I can make my own people. I would like to delve into that. And then he leaves because at that point he wants nothing to do with it. So I think that it's one thing to create and another thing to make a clone. Dr. Manhattan is a creator. He's not replicating anything. Lady True is replicating things. So yeah, I think that's what we got to look at. That at the end of the day, True is just replicating. Dr. Manhattan is creating, and we're gonna see the difference in that, and that's gonna reveal itself as the show goes on, I believe.
You think she's
I can see Lady
replicating
True
whatever she
just got
found? Oh, go ahead.
inspired by it, honestly. Yeah, I think that she got inspired by what Dr. Manhattan did with the whole Phillips and Crookshanks. I think that's what happened, really.
And then if you look at the Ranger, I can't tell you, but it looks like it may be a Phillips with a mustache.
Well, like, what type of power would you feel if you have agency over the beings that you created? Not really all that much power. I mean, that's gonna fall flat on you. Lady True, she's not replicating people as much as she's replicating sentiment. She's replicating culture. She's trying to hold
Nostalgia.
on to. Yes, nostalgia, all of this. The cloning, that's not space science, people. That's fucking science. That's happening now. Okay, you don't need Dr. Manhattan to make two puppies. We can essentially do that now. I think that it's just a commentary, again, on how meaningless life becomes once we start manipulating it like this to hold on to it. To try to save something, you essentially kill it. I think that Veidt is trying to now, he's not trying to create a new world. He's trying to merge worlds. And he's trying to probably, I'm taking whole serial killer route in saying that he wants credit for his crime, because it would blow everything wide open, perfect for the narrative. People would be exposed to it. People got to reckon that within themselves. And I mean, I think that everybody is using around about the same technology that might have came from Dr. Manhattan, but they're using it for different reasons.
Yeah, and I honestly think I agree with you on that. It's definitely just what John St. Baptiste as well asked if we thought Adrian is a sociopath. Definitely, maybe even a psychopath. He's probably turned into that way via solitary confinement with idiots is basically what's happened to him. He doesn't necessarily have a real human connection here, and I think that Adrian wants to save the day again through something he has already concocted. A plan is already on its way. Perhaps Lady True is trying to counteract that plan. It seems to me like she's tick-tocking like everyone else. I think all of these different groups have the same goal, and maybe that's what Adrian wants them to know that they have the same fucking goal and to kind of be the person responsible to bring them together. I think he misses being the hero, being the one held. Definitely sociopathic tendencies. He wants his ego stroked. He saved the fucking world, and look where he's at now. Supposedly saved the world. You know what I mean? Anyways.
Yeah, he had to play the role of the villain. So the only way to correct that is to be the hero by getting rid of the villain himself, coming back, taking responsibility, blowing the whole thing wide open. Fits perfectly with everything that's going on. I don't know. I don't see much. I think that's got a lot that's got to happen, and a lot that will happen within that, but I don't think it's going to go much further than that. I mean, this technology is pretty much universally used, but the motivation for using it is different. And that's what makes it interesting. Why do we use these powers that we have? It's that's the cornerstone of superheroes. Is they all have powers. What do they use them for? What do they fight for? Captain America. It's a pretty obvious one. You know what I mean?
Well, I mean, I know who Captain Metropolis fights for, and it's Hooded Justice all night long.
For sure. For that sweet ass.
I'm telling you what, if I could ever get a Popeye's chicken sandwich, they're always sold out, or the line's like 4,000 people long. And people getting stabbed in Popeye's chicken lines now. So I just got to throw that out there, because the Westeros
haven't got it? Like, what the hell are you doing with yourself, man?
I haven't had a Popeye's chicken sandwich
Get
either,
one too.
so
Who else hasn't
I don't
gotten
have
it?
time. I ain't got time
I haven't
for
got
that.
one. Yeah, I haven't got
Get
one.
Uber
If that's a measure of what,
Postmates,
if the
like,
measure
they'll
of
deliver.
the measure of one's life is not a Popeye's chicken sandwich.
Yeah, it's
Speak
not
for
high.
You
yourself.
haven't tried a Popeye's chicken sandwich. You can't be talking. No.
Not everybody is out
Fucking
here.
Popeyes
Oh,
pop
man.
figures. Popeyes pop. Oh, I'm seeing it. There's a trend.
No.
It's all about that pop.
Nah,
There's no
these,
link
nah,
there.
these,
There's no
you
link.
know, my
Stream is
my
breaking
hips
down
can't
fast.
afford a Popeye's chicken sandwich right now, so
Oh shit, man. You know what? I mean, I used to get I can't talk about what happens with food stamps around here. Damn it. Damn your government and not being able to talk about stuff.
Well, I'm looking forward to next
But,
episode.
yeah, I would have to say that chicken chicken wings. It's always good. Yeah, lemon chicken is usually very good. I don't know what I'm talking about here. But okay, so let's go back to Angela, her getting imprisoned. What we see next week, if everybody hasn't seen the preview for next week, basically Angela figures out what's going on with nostalgia. This drug that was banned because it literally made people go psychotic. Especially if you take someone else's memories. They scan your brain, they pull your memories from your brain and put it in pill form. Hack's Dogma will tell you how that works specifically and draw up a diagram for you. No pressure, Hacks. But this, I know we touched on it slightly, but she's gonna go through some shit here. And with her being Rorschach, in my opinion, at least his violent side. Let me get your final thoughts on that, and we'll leave it on that. As far as how is this nostalgia going to affect everything? Hack's Dogma threw out a theory where he thinks that Lady True is going to release nostalgia when the doomsday clock goes off or the millennial clock goes off. What do y'all think? And I want to ask Fandom first because he hasn't got to speak too much. Let that forehead shine, brother.
So yeah, I don't think she's gonna unleash like nostalgia pills, but he pretty much planned this from the jump start by leaving those pills in the car, making sure she finds it. They even mentioned that in I think it was episode 4, was it, or 3, when he had the no, it was 4, where Lady True was talking to Will near the end of the episode. Like he planned it. He's hoping that she gets those pills and possibly potentially taking them so she can pretty much learn everything, and to the point that she's going to hate him at the end of it. Hopefully it'll just bring Angela and Lori, close and start working together because they've pretty much been at odds with each other.
Yeah. Nostalgia, Dornish. You there? Maybe not. Next year.
I'm totally here. Sorry.
Oh, sorry.
So yeah, in terms of the nostalgia pills, well, we're really gonna see the truth. I still think it's truth serum, truth pills, taking you down that rabbit hole in the matrix, that she's gonna learn the truth about everything. Truth hurts. And I'm just really excited about the next episode because we are going to get film noir violence realness next episode. And I'm very excited to see if they drop more breadcrumbs about Hooded Justice or if they just give it to us.
Gonna get that Hooded Justice Captain Metropolis realness. Makes sound like some Game of Thrones. Oh, sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, it is super Game of Thrones. But yeah, it sounds like Hacks should, kind of help us out with that Pedia, you feel me? But just saying, just throwing that out there.
So you get for being smart, Hacks.
Yeah, sorry. Don't do that. Justin, your nostalgia. How are you feeling about this next episode? I know they said this is so much stuff is supposed to be revealed the next episode. We've seen everything kind of in this small little flash of what we're going to see next week. Angela even seeing the symbol, her father, her grandfather. She is her grandfather at one point. Him walking the streets of New York as a police officer. Mm-hmm. There's going to be a lot there, and there was a lot in this episode to unpack. What you think, man?
Yeah, I mean, the embargo was lifted for anybody that was able to speak about the series if they had been able to screen these 6 episodes. So that tells you a lot about what Lindelof thinks he achieves in these 6 episodes. He thinks that this has a pretty solid resolution, for at least enough for people to have an understanding of where this narrative is going to end, because we notice a lot of a lot of different narratives have been pieced together. I don't mind it. It's not conventional, but I think it's actually done pretty pretty well and pretty straightforward, especially for Lindelof. So him having that embargo at 6 tells you a lot about episode 6. That's why we're doing the after show after that. I've said it once, say it again. The origin story, Lindelof says, is Tulsa 21, but it's Angela's story. This is the merging of that. That didn't make sense until now. Now her origin story is that, because she has the pills, the memories. I'm totally on board with Hacks and Axel's theory about that Doomsday Clock releasing nostalgia, because I do think that is what she wants. This is a series that is not just about race. It's mainly about race, but it's also about appropriations. It's about the colonization of different territories and taking their culture and appropriating it. So we see this with Lady True, with having a little bit of Vietnam in America, but Vietnam's a state. So this totally fits if everybody actually had the nostalgia, but I'm just going to stop saying that because it just doesn't really fit. It's not the right vernacular, in my opinion. If everybody had the experiences of those in their families, those in their past, those, their genealogy wasn't just a tree that you put a walnut in, which is also a form of an egg. You actually had all these, and they were like feasible, tangible things you could reach out and grab and feel. You would be far less likely to hurt others, because the world is affected on a far greater scale if everybody shares these actual events, both good and bad. You're far less likely to be selfish, and it just makes sense that Lady True is trying to release this out to get everybody to come to some sort of a spiritual realization, or whatever you want to call it, but that might not be ethical either. And then the 7th Cavalry, I think that we need to probably understand that they're probably not going to have it be as black as white with them. I don't think that I think a lot of people are with them, and a lot of them are racist, but how many of those people are with them because they feel like they're disenfranchised and all that, and they're willing to put up, and it's terrible, but they're willing to put up with the racism, right? Because it still fits their agenda for what they're going for. So we're going to see a little bit more of a gray area with the 7th Cavalry. I'm not condoning a bunch of KKK members. Again, not a popular opinion, but people in the KKK are pieces of shit. I'm just saying that it's probably not going to be so black and white. Doesn't make sense for this. Will is going to, essentially merge with Angela, and we will see Lori come to the realization that she needs to help Angela. Their methodologies will merge. Bam. You got, a good... It's just like True Detective. I've said it a million times. It's this mystery about Judd's murder, and everybody has to go around and see what's going on, and they get this different insight and perspective into so many different people's lives and culture, and it's just taking a walk in a whole lot of people's shoes. You pop those pills, you walk in everybody's shoes. So I think that you'll have Angela and Lori find some middle ground, much like you do at the end of True Detective in 2 out of the 3 seasons, and we will see the overall message be conveyed. And how Veidt falls into that, my only thing is I think he's going to crack it wide open if he gets there, and he shines light on the events that happen. But it is interesting, AK brought this up earlier, that we have Looking Glass throw away that material, that whatever the hell reflectine, and then he still goes and gets it back. So even after seeing what he saw, there's still a seed of doubt within him. And again, it's he can see if people are telling the truth, but it's their truths. People's truths are about to get a whole lot more hard. Some more hard truths are coming. So I don't know if that made a whole lot of sense, but pretty much that's how I see it playing out.
Yeah, that was shit. That was a good diatribe, Justin. Yeah, and it basically works out to where it's not all black and white, even though a lot of people in this story see it that way. The world is definitely gray.
And remember, it's nostalgia because of Veidt's fragrance back in the day. It's a Veidt idea, a Veidt.
Yeah,
oh yes, that's so true, because that could be spread in there. I'm so sorry. That's a very good point. Very good.
Yeah, it can even be a memory of a time you used drugs and felt good. It can be anything. So, and it could be awful or good, but it goes to when you're taking someone else's medication. And then you can even say that Angela may be a clone of Will as well. That would be some trippy shit. But
can I add one thing to it? I'm so sorry.
No.
I know, but what is a clone if you share each other's memories already?
Yeah, I don't know.
You know what I mean? Redefines
well, a clone doesn't share memories. I guess it wouldn't, unless you're transferring your brain waves. Never. It just gets too complicated.
We'll wait for Westworld for that.
Yeah, Alicia Kingston, your final thoughts. What's going to be the implications of this nostalgia, and any predictions on what you think Angela's going to go through next episode?
For Angela, I think it's going to be, Will has always been like, I want you to know where you came from, I want you to know who you really are, and blah, blah, blah. And I think that's what the nostalgia is going to give her. She's going to see firsthand every major move that her grandfather has made since, his origins in Tulsa, which are in fact now her origins. As far as like the merging of their characters, I think it may be more of an ideology parallel per se. If that makes sense. She is definitely not a fan of him already, and he thinks everything that she's going to learn is going to make her hate him more, which he fully went into this, knowing that's what might happen. And, like he was telling Lady True, she thinks that he might question his loyalties or question, the plan actually going through because family is now involved. And he's like, no, he fully accepted what those responsibilities were going to be, what the repercussions were going to be, but he still wants her to know. And I don't know if that's because it's part of the plan or if there's a genuine thing that he really thinks she needs to be aware of. So maybe she can help course correct and act accordingly in the future for what she's going to see. Like we saw Lori say, you're not supposed to take someone else's nostalgia. So how much, not only is she going to have this ridiculous tripping balls sequence that's probably going to last for most of the episode, but she's going to have to deal with, seeing her husband at different times, because we saw, he comes in, tries to get her to come back to the, quote unquote real world Lori's, and they're trying to talk her down. Who else are they going to bring in to try to talk her down? And what else is going to happen that's going to mess her psyche up even more, that's going to fully put her into that Punisher Rorschach persona? Because she's already set up to be there. It's like Arya and Sansa, her and Miramask. They are Looking Glass, I think that's his real name. They are two sides of the same coin. But at the same time, I think what her narrative may be is to help Miramask get over that last bit of the hurdle that he needs. And also, I still think this is where her and Lori are going to end up actually working together to try to go after what the really big bad is. Lori isn't seeing the whole picture right now. She's going through and doing what her contract deems she do. She is the comedian's daughter now. She's looking at the world from a very cynical place. And honestly, for that universe, you need someone that is going to do that. But you also need someone that is going to help ground that and base it even more in the full picture perspective. And I think that's where Angela is going to come in. And I think that's also where we're going to see Looking Glass actually step up and finally move past his last hurdles too. I think that's very, very much could be our final quote unquote hero trio, which as far as hero tropes go, if there isn't one solo hero, he or she always has like a main, beta and theta person in the group that helps them. Like their weaknesses are her strengths. Her weaknesses are their strengths, and they're going to come together and have to try to help figure this shit out. And I'm very much looking forward to seeing how that plays out.
And I like that. And I would like to say that I pretty much agree with your assessment. I think that Lori could go back to Lady True, having known Vietnamese the whole time, like we were talking about last week, and ask her where's the grandfather. I think
Lori does too. I don't think it's just that little cactus being bugged yet.
Yeah, there may be something else there. She bugs everything, and it wouldn't be beyond me that PD's been just planting shit everywhere. Nobody sees Petey, so he dresses up like Lube Guy and he just plants bugs everywhere. That's basically what's
Who's afraid of
happening
sheep
here.
bugs?
Just think McConaughey
Adrian
and
Hawk
Harrelson
Castle.
for True Detective. How they like that's what Alicia's talking about right there. It's that wants and needs. They they want it, but what they need is within each other. So they perfectly said, Alicia. They come together, they complete it. Their methodology. They each change a little bit and learn a little bit, and it all works out.
I'm smart sometimes.
You're always smart. No, I just keep saying True Detective, like everybody's seen the show. So
Yeah, man. If you say it 4 more times, we'll get it. No, I'm just fucking being. No, I do agree with you. I think in general, they may throw it off a little bit, and depending on what happens with Looking Glass here, he's gonna have a crisis of conscience. Is he gonna have an opportunity to break her out, or is he just gonna be off on his own? As his own tangent here. I don't know. They're going to come back together in the end, but I think someone's going to have to get Angela out of jail. And I think her revelations, what she's going to get from the nostalgia, and also what Lori is going to find out is going to more so get, like y'all are saying, get Lori on Angela's good side. in a sense, she's going to see that she needs Angela more than that. Because Angela is a key, just like Justin's been saying, this is her story, and we're seeing it really start to play out right now. I can't say any more than they have said. They've killed it. Happy birthday, Dornish.
yeah, happy birthday.
Thank you. I couldn't think of a better way to close out a birthday.
I'm telling you what, I know it, right? Go put the Killer Bees album on and just chill out. Don't be sneezing on me, AK. I'm really sick and tired of that.
That was a cough, young man.
Oh, okay.
Damn it. You will take them and like it.
Well, where can
I've
they
been
find
listening
you
all day, by
guys
the way.
really quick? Huh? Oh, yeah. Do it. But where can they find y'all really quick? Justin, where can they find you at? And of course,
Top Shelf Fandom, and we'll be live after episode 6 next Sunday, 10:30. So look into it. Thank you for having me so much, Johnny. It was a pleasure to meet everybody that I had not met before. Wonderful conversation. Always a pleasure, AK, and even you, Fandom D Saint. Had a heck of a time with you, fella. Thanks.
you
So
can see the CW playing in the background off the reflection in his forehead.
oh
Damn
no,
it, Fandom, you
the
have
quarterback.
not been on the
The
jokes
quarterback
today,
doesn't
and
want to
it's
go
really
to
bothering
prom
me.
with me. Yeah, or whatever.
I
Dornish
need-
Devin.
Yeah,
I
we
need-
all know you're a closet CW fan, Justin. We all know
No,
you're
that's
just
called
putting
a
all
closet
those freaking
pedophile.
jokes.
No.
No.
Yeah.
You're the only person bring up this pedophiling thing, man. It's you, man.
I'm just saying the demographic
Just
for
hit me.
CW is tween and then 40-year-old sex
And I
offender.
even showed you a screenshot of my age group of viewers.
I know. I'm sending
And
that
there's
to the
hardly any
FBI.
freaking teens.
Oh,
Look.
I have 0%. You have 7.
Fandom D Saint, we all know you're a
Because
brony.
they're just lying about
We
their
all
ages,
know you're
man.
a brony. Okay. So
No, I don't watch
He
freaking
said
My Little
no.
Pony. Stop it.
Look into it. I'm just joking, guys. I don't want
Where
him to go
can
to
they
jail.
find you at, man? Fandom D Saint, talking to you. Oh,
I didn't even hear the last bit.
where can they find you at?
Oh yeah, Fandy Saying YouTube channel where you can pretty much find all your CW reactions and other freaking HBO shows me reacting to as well. And thanks again for inviting me, Johnny, talking with you, Dornish, AK, and I don't know why freaking Justin was here, as well as Tech West, giving some insight on the show, as well as people within the live chat.
You gotta give it up to Tech West for real. AK, do you want people to find you? You do stuff on your channel every now and then, so go ahead and tell people where you is.
Absolutely. I do some things on my channel, as Johnny said, but you will always catch me on other folks' channels and in their chats before you'll catch me on my own. So, sub to all of the squad here because they are all great folks. I had the pleasure of meeting all of these people. Justin and Dornish and Johnny were at Con of Thrones, and David I met I think what was that New York Comic Con first when me and T Baby came down.
No, I wasn't there that time. It was like a different time you came down to visit. I think it was your family member's birthday or something.
Yeah, that's right. It was my dad's birthday. Yeah, I went back home to New York, and me, Fandom, and Monero made up for brunch one morning, and it was awesome. Sitting there chilling, he's just as cool as you think he would be on the stream. Same as everyone else. They were awesome to meet. Really glad I got to chat with them face to face. We all run in the same circle, as I say, so we'll always definitely be seeing around each other at some point. So come join us for the random fun and tomfoolery. Sometimes we're smart with our ramblings, or well, at least I am. Every now and then I have, good bits of knowledge to put out.
Yeah, we're super serious people. I cannot thank y'all enough for coming on. I can't thank everyone else enough for being in the chat. And I guess let me thank my patrons, because they're awesome and help me get stuff to, make these beautiful visuals that you see here. I guess they're beautiful, whatever. I make stuff, you watch, just like it. Like it, smell it, and I'll take it. Amy True, Anime Lover Nicole, Bobby Catalano, Catherine Cronin, Catherine Harding, Clarissa Thompson, Dark Mother, John St. Baptiste, Casey of House Lorebridge, Katrin C. from My Point of View, Nancy T., Santivia Major, Steve York, and the podcastthat.com, that family of podcasts. And you know what, guys? I really appreciate y'all again, and I'll just keep saying it over and over. And I hit this music, be like, "Oh, what's up?" Let's give them a little banter, if you want. Y'all like banter?
I like
Justin's
banter.
banterish.
Banter's cool every now and then.
I mean, people gotta act like this is a real show.
Give them some careless whispers.
Careless whispers, yeah. Or we could do like they did in Anchorman. Where
You're
they're
a
telling each
pirate
other.
hooker. I'm gonna punch you right in the face. You're a smelly pirate hooker.
The nostalgia of old school music that I've heard in TV shows over the past few seasons was great. My favorite thus far is the season finale for American Horror Story.
I will ship you off the Whore's Island.
Oh, you better not.